How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right. I'm from New York and Boston originally, so I am a little bit snarky. You guys know about that word, right? So I am particularly snarky about innovation, although I am optimistic about it. So if you feel a little snark, don't be worried. It tapers off as the talk goes on. So my name is Bill O'Connor. I work in San Francisco. How many people have been to San Francisco, Silicon Valley? Okay. So I am at the San Francisco Vault. It's an accelerator, incubator, 50 startups working on exactly what you would think. AI, blockchain, there's usually multiple things. It's like an AI, blockchain, crowdsourced, hemp-related, quinoa, the New Yorker me is still like, it's so precious in San Francisco. It's wonderful, but it's precious. So basically, I'm there with 50 startups, but I basically run an innovation consultancy and also run an innovation research arm, because research, of course, feeds the consulting work. So let me get to know you guys a little bit. So I had a great session with Ken in San Francisco. So at a high level, and you guys can see me okay? Okay. So at a high level of interaction, the word innovation, it's the best word and the worst word in the world, right? How many people think that the word innovation, the word has become a sort of a BS, buzzword, totally diffused, overused, means nothing? How many people? All hands should be up. I can wait. I have time. I will outwait you. I'll wait till the blizzard comes in. And if you don't raise your hand, we got a debate on our hands later. Now, that's the word innovation. It has to be said with quotes. I even use inner quotes on it like this, right? You got to put lots of quotes because it's a BS word right now. It's been a BS word for a long time. But joking aside, how many people think real innovation in business or the world drives the world, right? It's true. I mean, can I go over here too? If I don't get, okay. So it's remarkable. I've been an innovation nerd for like 25 years, and I've really been doing this specifically every single day for 10 years. And I am stunned still. The planetary level of innovation in 2019, the talk is still like this, right? And then the reality is usually very low. And here's my make fun of executives voice. So when you ask executives, CEOs especially, what do you care about? What do you think they say in the top 5 always? Say it with me. Innovation. Innovation is very important to us. It's critical. And here's the executive finger. Oh, innovation is just so. When I see this, I get very worried, right? In good times, innovation is usually number 1 or number 2. What happens during a recession or bad times? Does it go away? It goes down the list and becomes incremental, right? I think there's a rule. When you become CEO, there's a little thing in your office that says you must talk about innovation all the time. I think it's almost like a law, right? So, but the funny thing is, the percentage of CEOs even that say innovation is important, the last thing that came out, top 5, it was 87% of American CEOs. And then when you look at the actual amount of innovation, it's much lower. So I find that really interesting. So today we're going to talk about real innovation, and I'll tell you how I define that, right? And it's really about impact out in the world. It's about establishing things out in the world instead of innovation activity. So let me give you a little metaphor. Do you guys know this wave at all? Who knows big wave surfing at all? This is Mavericks. This is the Silicon Valley wave. Can anyone see this lunatic down here? I'm from New York and Boston. Californians are nuts because they surf tidal waves, right? I like to use surfing as a metaphor for innovation. So this wave crashes off Silicon Valley every January and February. It's 60 to 80 foot wave, right? So there's that maniac there. So innovation is a good metaphor, surfing and innovation together. Why? It's coming at you, right? You can't get away from it. What are you going to swim away? It's not going to work. You're just going to sit there like a buoy. You're going to get killed. Swimming into it with no skills? No. Surfing the wave is not only this guy's having an exciting ride, right? But if you think about it, this wave is coming, and it is. This is the safest thing to do, isn't it? To be skilled at something, right? And by the way, this is not just the wave of innovation. When I gesture over there, the tsunami of brilliant machines is coming. I'll show you my list later. If you just look at AI and blockchain, this wave is much even bigger. So this is perfect. Picture the wave coming at you. What are you going to do? You got to learn to surf. You got to learn to innovate more. This guy needs 3 things to surf: mindset, skill set, and tool set. It's the same exact thing for innovation. Mindset. Honey, I'm going to go down to the beach and surf a tidal wave. Woo, crazy, right? Skill set. He knows how to surf. If he has the one but not the other, he's going to come back dead probably, right? The third thing, he's got the tool set. He's got the surfboard. You see the parallel? Innovation is exactly the same thing. You need the mindset, you need the skills to do it, and you also need the tool set. So I'm going to talk about that stuff today. Now let me ask you a question. This guy is surfing. Say it's a guy or a woman, right? You want to see what middle management looks like? Oh, here they are. Yay! Something goes bad. I'm going to get the hell out of the way. Oh, Oh, yes, we like to innovate. Yeah, no, goodbye, right? And it depends on the level. This is your boss or you. How many people think this is your boss or you? How many people don't like to raise their hands? Raise your hand. It's a stupid joke. It always works. Yeah. It also is funny when I tell people this is my dad, but it's not. I don't know why I say it. This is middle management. Oh, yes, they are surfing adjacent. This is not surfing, just like it's not innovating. So if surfing is innovating, how many people are innovating in this picture? One, right? Okay, now, this is where it gets really fun. By the way, I toss out those numbers. I am cynical. If I see someone on stage like this, and by the way, I never dress this formally. I'm a Californian dressed like a businessman. Would you like my business card? Right? No, I just, when I leave the area, I dress a little more formally. But so I've done, at this point, 525 engagements only around innovation, 200 companies, 40 countries. This stuff is absolutely common all over the world, not just in America. Okay, that's the innovator, trying like hell to innovate, right? Here's middle management. Oh, yes, we're enabling. We did the toe in. The toe in is perfect. I'm going to toe you in, and then good luck. Where is the CEO? Who said that? Yes, okay. Here. Yay! I'm 55, so I can say it. Thank God I'm retiring soon. Now, publicly, the CEO has to say, well, yes, to the media, yes, innovation is, of course, one of our key bibbidi-ba, right? And to the board, the CEO says, first of all, thanks for not firing me. That's number one. And number two, innovation is very key. Do you know what he or she really thinks at a visceral level? My God, that looks horrifying. That looks terrifying. And no, really, if you think of the age of a person, picture like a 60-year-old CEO, right? It's like, yeah, I have to learn blockchain now. You're nodding. I have to learn about AI. I did all that when I was this guy. Then I became this guy, and now I'm this guy, right? So do you see the point? I am being totally compassionate here. I understand. At age 55, I don't spring out of bed with the same energy. I understand. But that's why people don't innovate. Does that make sense a little bit? All right. Let me have some fun with this. These are all new slides that it's visual sarcasm. Okay. Do you want to meet the CEO? So the CEO is not actually going to innovate a lot, but he or she has to tell the media and the board, right? So this is what I found around the world. So, okay, yes, well, Bill, I'm glad you're here at the blah, blah, blah center. I'd like you to meet our new head of innovation, okay? His name is Sky. Have you seen this guy at a conference? And then you say, what are those glasses, Sky? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, they tracked the International Space Station, and this guy went to MIT. He went to Rhode Island School of Design, right? He did time at IDEO. He's got have you met this guy at the conference? He runs the thing. His name is Sky with two Y's. There's an umlaut over the Y for some reason. Well, my people were Scandinavian, so I added the extra Y. You want to be his friend and punch him at the same time, right? So you want to see his second in command? Her name is Hibiscus. Oh, hello, Hibiscus. Note the cool-ass glasses on Hibiscus, right? She was homeschooled in Marin, 170 IQ, Burning Man, IDEO, everything. So she's the second in command. Has anyone met this person? They're wonderful people. Super high IQ, EQ. Anyone been to Burning Man? She's like her dad was a founder of Burning Man, et cetera. Right? So does this recognize? So, hey, I have a round business card. Ooh. Has anyone gotten the round? Anyone here have a round business card? You can leave right now. You do? You've received them. Okay. Security? I'm not authorized to purchase them. Okay, good. That's probably a good thing. Ooh, and the business card is made from processed kale. Ooh, and they'll tell you about it. And by the way, her glasses are made from reclaimed rainforest wood. These people are so precious, right? And also, so let's bring you. So I'm gonna introduce you to the innovation team. Sky runs that, and Hibiscus really runs the lab. And then our other guy, Fred, runs the innovation fund, lab team fund. Does it sound familiar? All right. Yes or no? It's good, right? Okay. All right. And then, I have holographic shoes, right? They always have a piece of clothing that you have to ask about so they can explain it to you, right? Am I coming off bitter here? I hope not. What? Hey, cool shoes. I'm glad you asked. Oh, God. And then 40 minutes later, you finally get to leave, right? Hey, look at our cool space. We've got a yellow staircase. We have to be innovating, don't we? Ipso facto, right? Hey, and by the way, everybody in these photos is blurry. You see that woman? She's moving so fast, she's blurry. And then look at this guy. He's moving into the future. Everybody that's innovating looks like this. They're all like Bigfoot. It's like blurry monsters, right? No, when I look for these photos, everyone's blurry, right? Everyone's kind of like, I'm moving too fast for you to see me, right? The answer is actually they're not. And disruptors up there. They must be disrupting because someone paid for a sign, right? I'm a $14 billion company. We paid for a sign. We must be disrupting. Oh, it's a playroom. Innovation is just a fun game, isn't it? Innovation is like romper room. I mean, I'm going to write something on the psychology. No, it's like the Bataan Death March, but we think it's romper room, okay? Hey, a living roof, all this stuff, right? Look, we must be innovating. Look at the mural up. Look at this, right? This is as bitter as I get. It gets better from here. And look, the team is doing a design sprint. Who does design thinking here, right? Who knows that it has nothing to do with innovation? All hands should be raised. Do you know what I mean? It really does not. It's necessary but not sufficient. So anyway, this is the people that you see, right? By the way, joking aside, wonderful people, right? Really nice people. But, am I ready for here's the lab with the goofy person with the VR glasses, right? And I was like, I'm up on the top of a building, right? And by the way, that could be the guy that runs the fund. And you ever see Simon Sinek, the why guy? And then the lab always brings this guy in to talk. And he talks to you about why is important, right? I love all of these people, but this guy, I want to start with why. Why is he famous? That's the why. No, I wish him well too, but it's like, okay, I got to start with why. That's fine, okay. Anyway, so this is innovation theater, isn't it? Doesn't it make sense? When you watch Hamlet, when you watch Hamlet, you're looking at sets, like Elsinore Castle in Denmark. It's not really Elsinore Castle, but it's theater. That's the same thing we see in most corporations. That makes sense so far? All right, so I care about real innovation. Most of the stuff in innovation theater is necessary for real innovation, but usually, often people don't go further than that. So let's talk about going further than innovation theater. You don't have to read this. Who is this guy? Background on me, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, 20 plus years from New York and Boston. 5 startups, 2 successful, 2 failures, 1, I don't know, you tell me. Global tech company, who knows Autodesk, computer-aided design? I had 3 jobs there, we'll talk about in a sec. Now I'm working, in addition to doing this work, advisory board, 3 startups, AI, blockchain, big data. I'm at the San Francisco Vault right now, as we mentioned. I like to say it's people half my age who still have hope and energy, right? I'm 28 years old. I just got $4 million in VC. Would you like a latte? Yes, I think I would. So, but I partly located the consultancy there because I work with these people, and it's just a way to stay on top of things, right? It's a way to bump in conversation. But let me talk to you about Autodesk a bit because it segues to the rest of my talk. So I was the innovation strategist at Autodesk for about 7 years, really 8. I edited the monthly internal technology journal. So Autodesk, $2 billion tech company making software, building industry, manufacturing, and also entertainment. So I edited the tech journal, 4 articles a month on whatever brain-bending stuff we had to wrestle with. It used to be infinite computing. Now it would, I've been gone for a year from Autodesk, but now it would be quantum computing, things like that. Bio, nano, future of work stuff. And I was a CEO speechwriter for 300 speeches. So these 3 jobs work together. We write about something with the CEO, we're going to put it in the journal, right? Or we research something in the journal that could help big customers. Innovation strategist. Okay, so Ford comes in, right? 8 years ago, you come into Ford. Hey, they're talking to me. That's a great speech that the CEO did because we start getting a reputation for good innovation. And they'd say, now help us innovate. Now, the show The Honeymooners, remember? Hamna, hamna, hamna. I would Ralph Cramden it and go, do you want more software? What are you here for? Do you want to hear? Here's a copy of the speech. Would that help you? I'll read it to you. They didn't want that. They wanted something in the middle. They wanted to know how to innovate. And the problem with sounding eloquent about something is that people think you know what you're talking about, which we did not. You see the difference? It was innovation poetry, really, right? It was words about innovation, right? So that is what led to what I'm going to talk about, which is this Innovation Genome Project and real innovation techniques. But in the course of Autodesk, maybe 7 years, and now a year on my own, I've given 500 engagements, 200 companies, 40 countries. You want to see the 5 things they care about the most? Here we go. This is the big 5 questions. What is innovation? What emerging technologies empower innovation? How does Silicon Valley innovate? How do great innovators innovate? How can we, that means you guys, innovate? So what's the most important one up here by far? Yell out the number. Whoa, of course. Yes, why? Someone tell me why. It's obvious, right? I used to have the slide Ibnu, interesting but not useful, right? Everything else, 1 to 4 is Ibnu, interesting but not useful, like a BBC special, like a Ken Burns thing, where they show an old Civil War birth certificate and they go like this with the camera, you know? Okay, fine. I saw an interesting BBC special on innovation. That's not useful. The last one's useful though, right? And I find there's a paucity of that out on the innovation landscape. All right, just so I know though, pick another one that you're interested in beyond the most important number 5. Yell out another number. What do you care about? Why 4? Someone say. Yes. I like when people pick 4 because everybody's obsessed with this. And this is the most innovative place in my opinion. But this was what led to this big innovation genome thing. We've been innovating for 3.5 million years as a species. And it had been totally under-focused on when I started looking at it. So that's a really good one. Anything else someone's interested in? 2. How come? Obvious, right? Yeah. Because if you don't, I mean, technology is not the starting place, innovation is, but you need technology to innovate today. Okay, so let's go through this. What is innovation? So basically, I looked up every definition I could find, put them in a spreadsheet. Most of them were bad. And then we put together one that we think works. Now, the reason I'll show you this as the start for this talk really is, if you use this definition of innovation, it's not only true, it's not only good innovation poetry. If you use it, you're much more likely to innovate. Let me tell you why. Innovation is the art of establishing something different and new out in the real world that has a significant impact, okay? First of all, it's an art, it's an art, it's an art. It is not a science. Any engineers in here? Yes, my people. Artists, total engineering culture, right? To the point where if you mention Tesla versus Edison, people start to cry. They're like, oh, Tesla. Anyone, any Tesla fans in here? Oh, Tesla got screwed by it, right? Are you that guy? Let me tell you about Tesla, right? And 40 minutes later, I know, right? So, boy, if you're an engineering CEO, you think it's a science. That's why you don't innovate. Does anyone resonate? You rose through the ranks with algorithms, logic, business planning, left, right, debating, smart, all that logical stuff, and then they get to the top. And basically, let's say this stage is the company and this is the market. And 2 things happen that I've seen in my 500 whatevers. 1, okay, I'm the CEO. Let's innovate, but let's not launch anything so we can prove it's going to work as an innovation. Ready? Go. And we launch it and it fails. And then everyone's like, what? How? What? Do you see what I mean? This is a world-bending moment. And then the second thing is, all right, we're not going to launch anything until we can prove it will be innovative. Last 4 times didn't work, we won't launch anything. Does that ring a bell a little bit? It is an art. Steve Jobs knew this, right? Aesthetics, feel, emotions, the experience it brings to you. So if you just know it's not a science, you're more likely to innovate. Knowing it's not a science is as important as knowing that it's an art. So looking at it as an art is the first step. Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way, different or new. I've looked at 350 innovations, 3.5 million years. 80% of them are different, right? Was the iPhone the first smartphone, yes or no? It was different in unbelievable ways, but it was not the first of its kind. Was Facebook the first social network? You know where I'm going, right? 80% of these things are different. 20% are new. I think money is new. I did this joke last time. Money versus the barter system. Here's the barter system. Listen, I got these chickens. I got 14 chickens. You got a cow. Let's make this happen. Let's do it. And someone's just like, no, that's so stupid. Can we please instantiate value in a coin or a rock or something so we don't have to carry chickens around? That is not an extension of the barter system. That is new. Do you guys agree?
The IRS doesn't like that.
What's that?
The IRS doesn't like that.
Well, oh, that's another innovation. Oh, I know. That's a whole different topic, yeah. IRS is an innovation. But the reason that's important now is people will say, well, I can't innovate. I can't launch products. Say, I don't care. Everything you're doing right now can be different and innovative. I don't know if I talked about DEI last time, like DEI, like God, right? I could look at you and say, if we had a session together, I'd say, DEI, what are you doing right now? I could map the whole thing on the board, right? What are you exploring right now? Just the weird stuff in your head. I is, what are you imagining right now, right? What are you just on the cusp of? All of that can be done differently. Pretty much 100%. That's why different is important. It's not just about new products. It's about services and creating experiences for people, right? Now here's the more interesting stuff. Significant impact. Yes, we're very, you know this voice by now, right? Oh, we're very innovative. Let me show you our project list. And I have a way to prioritize that. And it's like all incremental innovation. Does that make sense? And I say this without snark. It's like, yeah, you can barely call that innovation. To be an innovator, you have to have significant impact. And by the way, remember the machines that are coming? AI, robotics, AR, VR, IoT, that is going to do so much of our day jobs, even if you're a high-level professional. What's our job? Significant impact. Does that make sense? Through great experiences. So this has been here for 6 years. This is so much more important now as these great technologies come. But this is the part I like the best. Establish it in the real world. Does that make you nervous? Oh, it should. I liked when I hit the word. First I was saying bring to the world. That's not it. I'm going to go talk to execs from Procter & Gamble. Anyone like Pringles? If you launch pickle-flavored Pringles, it's disgusting and everybody hates it. Is that an innovation? I got to look up if they actually did that. This is like my llama thing. And so I'm going to go there and like pickle-flavored Pringles is a staple of this company. I'm going to be kicked out of Procter & Gamble, right? That'll be in the news. So establish in the world. It doesn't matter if you launch it. Does it make sense? I'm a basketball fan. It's like there's dribbling and setting up the play. There's taking the shot, and there's scoring. Do you get points for all three or not? You get points for the last one, right? In corporate innovation, it's exactly the opposite. You get all of the resources goes to like inside the company, all the cool Sky and Hibiscus and all the labs and activity. And if I see another study, the most innovative companies are this, this, and that because it's R&D spend as a percentage of revenues, my head's going to blow up because that's nothing to do with effectiveness, right? This is points on the board, isn't it? Anyone used to have a Zune? Anybody? Any real nerds here? Okay, good. My people. Zune was launched. Was it innovative? No, it didn't work, right? Do you see the point? So here's my other point about this. Let's say this half of the room is the company and that half of the room is the market. This will completely change the way you innovate, right? If the CEO says, you're the CEO, and you say, well, yeah, get the lab, get the fun, get the thing, get activity going, and once in a while launch things, get us some good press. How much do I have to understand, care about, and imagine on the behalf of those people? Not so much. If you say to me, you got to make it so good it's established in the world, here's the first response you should have. Oh my God. Well, actually, first I have to say it's this guy. I have to care about him. That's not easy for business to do. Then I got to understand him, and that's not enough. Don't listen to the customer so much. I had to imagine on his behalf, right? You can't do that if you're not incented. If you're just incented to do activity, are you going to do that? That's exhausting. That's what Steve Jobs did. Does that make sense so far? So establish in the world is critical. So this is not just true, and the world does not view innovation like this. If you think it's only innovative when we've established it in the world, you're going to be like at 99, ahead of 99% of companies and people. Okay? So that's my definition. Anyone like llamas? Who's pro-llama? Who's anti-llama? Anti-neutral, I don't give a damn. Llama curious? Anybody? Anybody out there? There we go. It's a very San Francisco joke. So I've talked about innovation. Silicon Valley, as a New Yorker Bostonian, Silicon Valley is still the most innovative place in the world. I'd love to nerdily debate that with you over lunch or something. It is easily, it's not even close. And I am sort of obsessed with spreading the transferable insights from that. That's why I'm here. I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to hit you with charts and stats and logic and history, but if you don't understand the spirit of the llama, the Silicon Valley superpower, when I'm done, I will have failed you. And you guys have been to San Francisco, right? How many people think it's a little weird? Again, all hands should be up. Boy, his hand went up like a shot. I don't know what happened to you at Fisherman's Wharf. So listen, how's it going, man? You know? He's on a journey. Everyone's on a journey out there. You notice this? Everyone's finding themselves, but nobody finds themselves. Everyone's lost. Like, where am I? I have GPS, but I can't find myself, right? It's a little techno joke. So there's a weirdness out there that I swear to God, I have obsessively done this. If you take all the variables out, this thing I'm going to talk about is probably the difference. And I will use Boston as Boston. Who's seen The Departed? It's like a documentary, right? I take that. It's so real in a way. I am going to use to make a lot of my points Boston and New York. Because again, Boston is incredible technology, MIT, Harvard, 60 other schools, right? They don't have near the innovation we have in San Francisco. I'm going to tell you why. And I think, and this is part of it. I'll give you a little primer to it. This is about ideas are good until proven bad, okay? There's no intrinsic connection to llamas there, but I'm giving you the center of the joke. Silicon Valley, San Francisco is the place where if you give an idea, most places in the world, even if I'm his friend, he gives me an idea. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm busy. Like, where's the sales? Where's the ROI? Why aren't they doing it? If I'm his boss, it's sort of like, why didn't I think of that, right? You know, if he's my boss, I'm like, oh, another crazy idea from the boss. No is the first idea, and that's probably normal. Silicon Valley, the first idea is like, okay, let's try it. Does anyone experience this? And it is absolutely the logical way to be if innovation is in fact an art, which it is, right? So I'm going to hit you with the llama joke later. So this is an intangible, but I'm going to get to it. Okay. What is innovation? Main thing established it in the world. Almost nobody does it, I don't think. What emerging technologies are essential? We all know this list, right? You know? I mean, blockchain, by the way, 3.5 million years. Never in human history, not even close, have there been more emerging disruptive technologies coming online. Don't talk to me about the Industrial Revolution. Nothing is even close. That's the giant tsunami. And a lot of people also come to Silicon Valley. They want to talk about the startups, right? Here's my semi-provocative point of view. You have to know this stuff. Who knows Singularity University? Nerd and Central, right? I'm on the faculty there. I love it. But I think partly I got on the faculty because I kept saying to them, you guys teach technology. You don't teach innovation. You guys getting to see the difference? We're working on Internet of Things. Yeah, good. What did you establish in the world? That would be nothing, right? That's not innovate. You see the point? So this is when people say, you know, I hope I'm having fun with it. The executives come from Holland. Now, you know my accents are bad. If anyone who's Dutch or German, because I'll confuse them, you know, I hope not to offend you, but it's like Hans comes from Holland. Yeah, I guess that's what they say. I don't know. I'm a provincial New Yorker, right? And it's like, yes, we're here to see the technologies. Oh, good. Hans is going to leave on Friday more confused than he was. And we're also here to see startups. And I always do this. It gives me a headache because here's my thought. If you go to Singularity University and you work for a $20 billion company and you just focus on technologies, you're going to go back and you're never going to apply them. Does that make sense? I know so many people that have gone, I love the program. If you don't have this, you'll never apply that. So the order should be learn what innovation is, learn how to do it, put it in your company. Like I'll talk about that later. Once you have that, now it's inevitable. Of course, you're going to look at the technologies. Once you know how to innovate, then you go, well, God, we have to get on AI. But your blood pressure will go down. Oh, since we know how to sort of innovate, let's start innovating with AI instead of experimenting with it. You see the difference? And that's why I joke about those VR glasses. Some, you know, people are like walking off the stage at TED because they're up on a mountaintop. Yeah, that's good. What'd you bring to market? Nothing. You see the difference? And I'm trying to give you guys an advantage too, because if Ford, more than other companies, starts here, let everybody else play around with this. Do you see how that's Ibnu that never gets to market? This is where we're going to start. You got to start at the root of it. And the strange thing is, there has been so little good stuff about innovation. It's inherently more complex than these two. And don't even get me on startups. Once you know the tech around AR, VR, then yes, come to San Francisco. Hire some hipster with the glasses to introduce you to the startups, because then it's not dangerous. You know how to innovate, and then you know about AR, VR, and now you can talk to startups. You see the danger if you don't know how to innovate and you barely understand the technology, you're just going to write a check. I'm looking at you. I don't know why. Somehow, you're going to write a check. You're going to write a check for this company you don't understand. Autodesk was acquiring one company every 2 or 3 weeks during our peak, right? And Autodesk is a great Silicon Valley company. How many of those think made a substantive impact on the company? What percentage? Take a guess. Yeah, I don't know. Generously, maybe 10. And that's a tech company. You see, that's a tech company. So when people say technology, they say that's great. You got to start with this. Okay, innovation, technology, and then startups. It's just safer. It's the better way. Okay, who's ready for Silicon Valley? Who thinks Silicon Valley is overrated as an innovation center? You won't hurt my mind. Okay, who thinks it's underrated? Who thinks it's rated about correctly? Dude, you are correct. Yeah. Who's tired of all the hand-raising stuff? Who's thinking about what's next and praying that the blizzard will come at this point, right? Okay. I'm going to talk about Silicon Valley. Now, I always try to put the ethical first, right? So I've now given all these talks, and I think, like, wait a minute. I'm telling you Silicon Valley is better, and therefore do it this way in some degree. Is it better? 6 months ago, I said, let me just make sure it's better still, right? So I basically sat at a Google Doc, and I was like, let me think of the super companies, Apple, Pixar, Tesla, Adobe, all those companies, right? I got 30 without blinking. And then I did a little research, and I found out this. There's 57 of the, you guys know most of these names, especially in orange, right? Most of these are category creators, right? You know, LinkedIn, Intuit, most of these created categories are just destroyed everyone else in sight. You guys know most of these names, right? You know Muir Woods at all? John Muir, the naturalist? This just came by accident. All these have massive scale, unique experience, innovative breakthroughs, revolutionary impact. And I could be more scientific. There's probably more. I'm a bad designer. There's only 40 on the slide. 57 super companies around innovation. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Does Boston have good technology, yes or no? Name for me the number, how many companies at this level are in Boston between 1 and 57? Yell it out.
3.
Who said 3? Good. Anyone else?
2.
2. Who said 2? I think there's, well, can you name them? You sort of a guess, right? I think there's 0. I've been looking. Maybe that little Roomba thing that goes around. But I'm like, screw it, I'll clean my own house, you know. That ain't Netflix, right? I would have thought there was 10, there's 0. I can't find one, right? And they have MIT and Harvard. It proves that this is really innovation, not technology. Doesn't this prove the previous slide? How many in New York? New York is much bigger. How many of this level company in New York around innovation? Name it. Anybody? How many?
Facebook was Harvard.
It was Harvard, but you could certainly argue it would not have succeeded if it didn't come out. That's an exception in a way, yes. We can have that talk, absolutely. But New York, anybody? Kickstarter, do you agree? Etsy, you know what that is? All right, but see, this I call it the shrug. You're like, I don't know. Does anybody doubt this is one of the big ones? No. Not that it's always perfect. Even other, you got to, maybe Kickstarter. How many in Berlin? Anybody? See the point? There is something weird happening in the valley because we have 7 million people only, and there's 57. The average in a major metropolis is somewhere around 0 to 1, right? You see my point? So I still believe something big is happening there. So what's happening? What's relevant to you? This is a slide I've been doing for 20 years. This to me is the formula. If you want to say, why is the valley different? We're fascinated with doing things that are different, new, next, better. That's the obsession. Coming from New York, it's like, yes, I'm a stockbroker. I have this amount of money. My firm is big. The Bay Area, I don't care. What are you doing that's new? Nothing makes a San Franciscan happier. You say, hey, Bill, what have you done since Google? And I say something to you, you have no idea what I just said. The 3 startups I'm working with, if we achieve it, we will create things that are not in the world right now. And I'm not doing the pat on the back. That's just the cultural obsession with new. You see the difference between new and excellent? New. We're also obsessed with idealism, helping people. Who watches Silicon Valley, the show? Make the world a better place through like lossless, compression, right? That makes fun of it. This is true, though. This is San Francisco is a crazy idealistic city, and there's a side point here. It's not just we're making the world better. That's true, but it's more like if you're my customer, I'll do a little side play. If you're my customer anywhere else, we have a startup. We make a product for her. She doesn't really like it. It's sort of like, all right, I guess. We attach our ego to this, right? In the Bay Area, it's more like this. We want to help her on an individual level, the user. This is actually true, right? This is to scale. And it's like, so we just we'll change this every single day as long as it helps you. Do you see the difference? So it's not like, oh God, we have to change things. It's almost like a Zen thing. We care about helping the person. And I don't know if this is true, but I'm researching it. But that's the vibe out there. It's like we want to create the experience for you. LinkedIn has changed itself tens of thousands. Anyone on LinkedIn here? I'm sure. How do they beat 100 other of those things? They just change all the time, right? So fascinated with new and idealism go together because we really want to help you. And we're new. We look forward to the changes. You see the difference? That's a weirdness, right? Then exploration. We love the process of exploring, developing new ideas, possibilities. Fear and risk. We don't care as much. We don't create a culture of fear. I love this. Or a culture of risk, a culture of failure. Do you guys ever read about that? That's not what we do. It's exploration, and the other stuff are byproducts, right? So again, and if you're trying to do new and idealistic, don't you have to explore? Exploring without shame, without guilt. Your boss is expecting you to explore, and then action. Bias fraction, design code found, do something, damn it. If all this stuff is true, then the action is going to flow naturally, right? And you do have Uber drivers that have 2 startups. You have people like me heading towards my 60s. I'm just going to keep doing it, right? That's the other ecosystem. When people, I joke, Marin over the bridge, you meet guys, hello, I'm in perfect health. And I look like I'm 47, but I'm really about 60. And you ask them, he's riding his $5,000 titanium bike, with like a Kale seat or something that monks, precious, right? And it's like, so what's your career? Well, I've had 3 successful exits. Anyone know what that means? You rich son of a bitch, right? 3 successful exits. Yeah, my fist is going to exit. No, but that means, and it's like, what are you doing now? Well, I'm on this board, I'm on that board, I'm on this board, right? You just keep going. That's why you can't copy our ecosystem, because you get generations after generations of people who've been in 30, 40 startups, right? That's a tacit knowledge. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead. Action. And ideas, this is maybe the most important thing I'll say to you. In the Valley, ideas are good until proven bad, bad until proven good. That's the llama joke. And I really want to hit that, right? It's this idea. Now here's why. Let's say you have the idea. I'm building up to the llama joke. You have the idea. If I'm your friend, but notice this, ready? If I hear your new idea, the world is out there. Innovation's in art. We can't predict it, but notice my back is to the world. I'm facing you. Like, no, that's not a great idea. Next time you say someone's idea is not good, realize the way you're facing conceptually. You're facing your friend or your colleague, and your back is to the world. Do you see how dumb that is? The Valley is more like this, I think. So I know everything's complex and zen and dynamic, and your idea, I can't really judge it because he's on a journey, he's on his own journey. And it's like this, which is more advantageous strategically? To be like this, I know your idea is not good, or this. I don't know. I mean, maybe, right? Do you see the point? Look at the body language. Versus, right? Like Diet Coke and kombucha, I got to do a kombucha slide. Yes. Diet Coke and kombucha. Red Bull and like chamomile tea. You know what I mean? Do you see the difference though? So, and again, it's arrogant. It is absolutely arrogant. In a complex world like this, even for the smartest person to say, no, that's not a good idea. Who the hell are you? That's what I say. Does this make sense? And it's much more fun to go, I don't know. The Valley likes the crazy ideas. The crazier, I'm going to try this out. I live in a redwood area, right? I'm going to try this out of people at work. I'm going to go up to a friend of mine and say, I won't do the voice, but I'm going to say, so, I'm having a lot of success with this innovation stuff. I heard something on NPR about trees. I'm going to go out into the forest. I'm just going to stand there, and I'm going to ask the trees for business wisdom, Now in Boston, what are they going to say? Oh, fucking tree guy. Hey, you do a lot of work with breezes, do you? Yeah, how's the tree? Hey, bark boy. You know what they'll say in California? No, I'll go on and on about, and for 50 years, hey, that's the kid who wants to talk to hey, how are the trees these days? Say hello to the flowers for me, right? And you never say another idea again, right? But I swear to God, one of my colleagues is going to say this. So what are you hoping to learn from them? Crazy! And yet, notice the difference, ready? Hey, tree boy versus, I don't know, joking aside, my jokes keep getting obviated by reality. There's a big study that came out that said, trees are all connected in a region. They're all one thing. A tree can send consciously nutrients to its offspring. And if the trees are attacked by a certain kind of ant, it sends a certain kind of chemical to shoot the ant away. And here's the creepiest thing. If it's attacked by ants, and ready? So if I'm one tree and you, sir, are another tree, they send a chemical warning to the tree that the ants are coming. Do you know this? So again, it's not that, what am I learning from the trees, right? But isn't this a better way to go? I don't know. I am just on the verge of writing an article about trees and innovation, right? But see, who knows? By the way, we're studying Nobel Prize winners. Do you think these people are afraid of crazy ideas? They're the ones who usually, anyway, so I'm getting off topic. But you see the point? Good until proven bad is the logical thing to do. And it feels great, but organizations are not encouraging us to do that. Now, academia, every great city has great schools. This is necessary but not sufficient. Boston is MIT, very little innovation. You see? You got to have it. And the ecosystem, I always say, stop copying the ecosystem. You know who copies the ecosystem most? People from Germany, people from the Middle East, and people from China. They literally just want to cut and paste it. And it's terrible. And I say, this is what led to the Valley, these 5 things. We were a bunch of orchards, right? Does this make sense? If you want to be like the Valley, those are the ways to be. Yes, and good that you have great schools everywhere. And who's been to Tel Aviv? Israel has sort of its own system. Israel took Tel Aviv, surrounded by people who want to kill it and everything, security. They took their own abilities and merged Silicon Valley technology. That's the way to do it, right? So anyway, don't just copy the ecosystem. So 7 things that makes the Valley different. Here's another thing. We invented this 10 years ago. Every innovation in human history starts as impossible. Then you're nodding. Who's nodding? I love that. Then it's impractical. Then it's widely possible. That's the peak of the innovation. Then it becomes expected, and then it's required, right? Human flight. It's completely impossible. No one can fly on the planet. Then in 1903, the Wright brothers and 2 guys from Germany, they moved it right there. It's impractical. Somebody can fly. It's not practical. Then, widely possible, the peak of the innovation. I don't know when it was, maybe 30s, 40s, Mad Men, 50s, everyone's flying around. Pilots, airports, business changes everything, and then expected, and then it's like, yeah, God, it got to fly again. God, it's killing me, right? Everything on earth goes from impossible to invisible. The electric light, right? Is anyone stunned by the fact that you can see me because of any fans of electric light here? Get a life, right? I like electric light. In 1838, it was impossible. 1839, not Edison, a British guy made it impractical, right? Then it goes up to here, the peak here. There were single guys walking around New York around the 1910 with their business card. Hi there. I'm the VP of electricity. Do you know this? They were VP. That's because that was a cool thing. Any VPs of electricity right now? It's like the VP of oxygen. It doesn't matter, right? So, and this Silicon Valley, the reason I say it, we are incredible at this. Do you see where I'm coming from now? We love this meet you at the party of doing things you never heard of before. We're also good at this. Get the family and friends, get the angel funding, startups, ramp up your team, et cetera, et cetera. And then the big exit. Now you got your titanium bike, right? IPO, acquisition, massive customers. And then in the valley, when we hit to here, the person goes back to here. And this is the thing. I can tell where you're from in the country by what kind of job you have. And this is very snobby. All right, can I semi-insult the crowd in a loving way? In a Christian loving way. If your job is digital transformation and change management, you do not live in the Bay Area. Because that's like saying VP of electricity, right? Everything goes on this phase. And here's the thing. It's so simple. Here I am at the establishment, right? Can you see me? I'm the head of Hilton Hotels. And by the way, I did this joke, and somebody I was working with was like, I know the head of Hilton Hotels. I said, I don't care. Tell him the joke, right? So I'm the head of it's 2008, 2006, and listen, thank you, head of innovation, Sky, with the cool glasses. He's telling me they're going to get the pillows to be softer. Good innovation there, Sky. And they're going to get the people to clean the rooms in a more effective manner. And we've got a beautiful solarium on the roof. So thank you for the... Meanwhile, in the crazy zone, Airbnb is coming like a wave, right? You always get hit by the 2x4 from the left, right? This is the thing. It's not, I'm an engineer, I'm a CEO. You're not being logical about innovation. Every innovation starts as impossible. Being logical about innovation is illogical. Does that make sense? Can you see this? Everything starts here. And so when people say we want to innovate, it's like, no, you don't. Hewlett-Packard enters markets, I think, over here. Hewlett-Packard put out an thing the other about toner. I swear to God. It's like, yeah, I think this toner thing could be big. No. It's not. What year is it, Hewlett-Packard, right? Microsoft used to enter markets at here. Can you see my point? The point is if you want to be innovative, you got to enter here or at least here. If you ask executives where their stuff is, they'll often say here or here, but it's actually that way, right? So this is just a tool and you can rate everything you're good at, by the way. With the machines coming, it used to be things went this speed. Now it goes like this, right? We're doing, anything that, e-commerce startup, right, used to be kind of cool, now is sort of a given. Anyway, so that is a key thing about Silicon Valley. Llamas, I'm just showing it to you like a subliminal, right? I'm going to get to the joke. All right. So I have about 15 minutes left. Okay, innovation. So we talked about please, about establishing things in the world. It is infinitely harder to do. But I'll talk about all the benefits of that. Technologies, yeah, they're all coming. It's the best ever. But do the innovation first, then the tech, then the startups, right? How the Valley innovates, that main thing is ideas are good until proven bad. I really believe that is the root of just about everything. Fortunately, you can take that idea to Pluto, to the center of the earth, to another dimension, to wherever you live. You can take that idea about ideas good until proven bad. You can take that anywhere. Okay. How do great innovators innovate? Okay. We got this idea because I thought, how can we create real techniques for innovation? So I proposed to my boss, I'm going to study 1,000 innovations, 3.5 million years. That's how we're going to get to the deep principles, right? Silicon Valley did not invent innovation. It's 3.5 million years starting in Africa, right? So we've done 350 historical innovations, and we have 5 techniques, more, but at least 5 techniques in a methodology that I'm going to show you today. By the way, all of this is online, so I mostly want to get the mindset going, but if you want to look at the actual methodologies, all of this is online, the SF Vault website, and there's videos about it too. So we started with the stone hand axe, Takeka, Africa, 3.5 million years ago. I want to make a point. This is the innovation. Cutting, you can cut plants and meat with it. This is the first innovation in history, incredibly important. The pre-innovation state was just walking around hoping to find rocks. It's like your wife sends you out on an errand. I know this is gender normative, but roll with it. It's like your cave wife is like, honey, I love you, but we have no more sharp rocks. You got to go find some. Oh, it's raining, and I think there's a saber-tooth. Wilma, I think there's a saber-tooth over there. She's like, get out there. Okay, fine. So now I'm grog, you're flog, and I'm like, yeah, isn't this stupid? Did you see any rocks? We're at the mercy of nature. It was such idiots, right? And then somebody, probably Wilma in the cave, makes the leap. She's like, you know what? My jackass husband's out there going after a gazelle. I don't know where he is, right? And he may be with Betty. I don't know if something's going on with Betty. Is that what Betty and Wilma? I don't know. But she's like, you can actually, we don't want the rock, we want the sharpness, right? We don't want the drill, you want the hole. So somebody figured it out. If you bang two rocks together, you can make them sharper. That's the leap. That's the innovation leap. That leap has not really changed in human history. Pre-innovation, post-innovation, status quo, status novo, the leap. Does that make sense? That everyone here should think of their work as here, right? I don't care how innovative you are. And there is a specific way to make an innovation leap. We figured out what it is. And that is timeless and universal. So I'll show you that. By the way, Steve Jobs made a leap, right? What's the pre-innovation state to the iPhone? It rhymes with schmackberry. Anybody? It's called an overhint. The BlackBerry, that's a leap, right? So the point is innovation hasn't changed in millions of years. Round of applause, Stone Hand Axe creator, right? Isn't she beautiful? This is not an actual photo. This is 3.5 million years ago, Australopithecus gari. And by the way, you think innovation has changed? Who knows Elon Musk? Think he's an innovator? Sort of in the car business? Look at the eyes. Any difference? They got it. They got it. I love it. He should be proud, and he's going to sue me, I know. Elon Musk online too. Screw you. You should be proud, right? This is, you see the eyes though? She's like, I wish I could just, and there is an instinct to innovation that really hasn't changed. This is mostly a joke slide, but mostly not. This is our proud lineage. All right, with 8 minutes left. So this is what we studied. I thought we'd have to be pretty dumb to study 1,000 innovations and not come up with timeless stuff. We studied different, I'm going to go quicker now. We did periods in history, 5 types of innovations. We came up with a list. This was too techy. This is a better list. Is democracy an innovation? Yes or no? It's not technology. Pre-innovation state of democracy, Egyptian monarchy. That's a hell of a leap, right? We just studied all the leaps, right? And that's what we studied, and there's a specific way to make an innovation leap, and it hasn't changed in millions of years. And you know who does it today? Almost nobody, which is crazy. But it's fairly easy to do, right? So this is some of the people we've worked with. The reason I show you this braggadocio list is I have tested this technique out with probably around 200 organizations like these folks. So every time something didn't work, we changed it. So it's not just like, oh, look at how good this is. It's like this is tested in 40 different countries, right? Okay, ready for the last one? How can you innovate? I'm still interesting but not useful, right? Does anyone think I've been useful here? Anybody? No, too polite. They insult me by inaction. That's why I like that one. Now let's talk about how you can innovate. And by the way, again, with just maybe 5 or 7 minutes left, I'm happy to talk to you guys after this, right? This is what I do all day long, and this stuff is up online, okay? So there are 5 things we figured out over the years you have to do. Create an innovation environment map, create innovation targets, generate ideas, prioritize, and turn them into projects. You don't have to do my versions of these, but you have to do every single one of these. And I say that just like, I'm not just a huckster selling my stuff up here, right? It's like all these are functions that you need to do, right? If I can, the best way to explain this is let's say you're the CEO of a $10 billion company, right? This is a good shorthand. So what should I do to innovate? Well, first you need an innovation map. You're crazy to think you can carry it all in your head, and it only relates to innovation. Start with your company, customers, competition, context. When you do this map, it's beautiful, it's crazy. Autodesk new CEO. Context is things like the technologies. AI used to live up here for Autodesk, but over the years it has moved into the value flow to customers, right? Quantum computing is still up there. This is a way, and by the way, he does the map. He's your innovation cartographer, right? You don't have to worry about this. Let you guys debate it together. You never have to worry, right? And also visualization leads to innovation. He's going to go, oh, wait a minute. This, you see what I mean? This is like those big, in the war movies, when they're always like, we think that Rommel has gone into Africa, right? And they move things around. This is more complex than that, you know? They didn't just say like, hey, I hear Rommel's getting closer. They didn't do that. They had a thing, right? You need a thing. So the map is the first technique, and I can tell you how to do that. And this yields all kinds of cool things. And you just keep track of it until you retire and head out to the beach. But you can always tell the media or your board of directors, anybody, yeah, we have a map. We track this stuff. It's not a list of projects, which is dangerous. Anyways, that's the first step. The next step is that will engender targets. He'll be your target guy, right? So it's like Internet of Things, generative design, etc. That's a target, and it's like a landscape is a map. So say you're flying a helicopter, pop, 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 over, and on the landscape, AI is there for Autodesk. Then you bring the copter down and say, okay, what's the target? One thing about an innovation target should not be something like, does anyone know generative design? You tell the computer what you want to do, and it generates all the options. You curate them. I had a talk with an EVP going on 5 years ago, and he was like, yeah, you know this is going to change your business. This is very relevant to Ford. Designers are not going to do the options. They're going to do that higher level stuff. I said, good. How quickly are you going to get that into your portfolio? And he said, the finger, right? Oh, we're looking to get that into a couple of, and he's pointing at me, you know, we're hoping to get that into the portfolio in a couple of years. And I just said, that's not good enough. Now, why? Not only because that's not a stretch goal, but here's the thing. Remember we said the giant leap? Gutenberg didn't say, I want to make better pens. Gutenberg, if this is the status quo, and this is like better pens, better inks, better paper, Gutenberg leap is like this, right? So what I say is, yeah, if you know generative design is important, I want you to get it in 25% of your major projects in the next year. And they always look at you like this. You know why that's important? If this is the status quo, and that's a crazy thing, the things you have to think of along the way, no one on earth has ever thought of before. Isn't that a good meeting to go into? Hey, what are you doing today? I got to go into this meeting and do something no one on earth has ever done before. Is that exciting? That's what you should be doing at work. But you won't do it if it's like, how can we be slightly better? So you see the difference? I'm not saying set these incredible goals only to reach them. I really don't care. But when you set that goal, the history of innovation is often like, oh my God, when head bumping, like what do we do now? So that's what a target is, okay? He handles the targets. So now your blood pressure could go down, I guess, right? You got to map it. Then you got the targets, right? The third thing is now we pick a specific target, and now we're going to generate the widest range of ideas. This is probably the most popular part of the thing because you can use it very quickly. We discovered, how do you make an innovation leap? You ask questions about the status quo. Implicit or explicit, there's 75. It's weird. There's not 90. There's not 52. That's all we could find. But people at Autodesk wouldn't use them. There's too many. So I kept beating the list down, and finally I guilted my friend. I was like, dude, can you please use 7? These are the best questions. So these are the best questions out of 75. Powerful questions. If you ask it, now look, you can do the map and the targets, but even if you just have something you're working on, throw it up on the board and ask these 7 questions. In hundreds of attempts, if you do this, in an hour you're going to get 20 to 30 new ideas. That's the currency of innovation, right? So what they are is look, use, move, interconnect, alter, make, and imagine. There's stuff online. Henry Ford is the example I use. Henry Ford, all right, this crowd should know this. Where did Henry Ford get the idea for the assembly line? Sorry, what did you say? Butcher shop. Yes, butcher shop. And you said? Yeah, meat packing, abattoir, whatever. Yeah, one of his lieutenants, I always say, like, when I go out to lunch, I get a salad. One of his lieutenants was out at the slaughterhouse. Like, okay, I guess he's getting a good cut or something. He came back, as the story goes, and they thought, wait a minute, if they move the animals like that, what about the cars, right? That's what I've read in many situations. He moved something from another realm, right? And this is everywhere in the research, right? These 7 are the most common, and who cares, but they work today because they're that fundamental. Looking at something different, the more successful, wealthy, acclaimed you are, your horse blinders go like this over time. You're looking at things in the wrong way. That's the most fun for me. You get the executive, what are you looking at incorrectly? Oh God, pop, 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 you get ideas on the board. So again, if you're the CEO, it's like, yeah, we had the map, the targets, and because of this, we got tons of new ideas up on the board. I don't have time for that. Pretend I talked about the spear and the bow and arrow, and it was just awesome. Just imagine a great anecdote. So basically, what can we look at differently? Use move. When you ask these questions, and again, I've been doing brainstorming for 25 years. I've never seen a technique as good as this. Why? I'm not taking the credit, really. The geniuses of history have asked these questions. You can ask these questions too. They're universal and they're timeless. So if you take my word for it, look, use, move, interconnect, alter, make, and imagine. This has not changed in years. So look, use, move, interconnect, alter, make, and imagine. Hey, Bill, where'd the rest of them go? Here's where they went. There are 6 ways to look at anything. I didn't even have to shoehorn these very hard. Every single one on the board gives you different ideas. Pulp Fiction rearranged things, right? Every single one of these buttons will give you new ideas. And I used to be polite and say, look, just use the 7. I know you're busy. Now I say the technologies are coming, folks. This is your job. This is your job. Not this particularly, but to generate these ideas. The machines are going to do pretty much everything else, right? right? And again, think of it as a giant house with rooms. Drag your idea through every room. There are ideas all over the floor. Pick them up. They're yours. If not, whatever. And then if a CEO would say, I'm too busy, what are you doing? You playing golf? You getting ready to retire? This is what you should be doing, or get your people to do it, right? So anyway, these are the main questions. These are the 7. So that's the third step, to generate the widest range of ideas. If you want a tie-dye t-shirt, Bay Area one, oh, look at the colors, man. You know what I mean? Maybe you're in like a blue mood one day. You just want to like look at things differently, right? I don't care. Just put it in the middle. And do you see the point about it being designed? This is not some seminar you have to come and it's like pound drums in the woods and, IDEO, I love them, but charging you all. This is simple. This is what we've done for millions of years. I can't make these 7 better. I've tried. I try every time I do it. These are the 7. This yields the best results. So of course I'm saying you should try it. If you run an organization, do the map and do the target list. But if you just have something you're worried about or excited on, do the Lumiami thing. It works really well. Okay. Then now the CEO's like, yeah, thanks a lot. And now I have all these crazy ideas. What do? Top level is this. You prioritize across wild and world. I have an origin story. I won't tell now. But basically, every idea on that board is a certain level wild. iPhone, Airbnb, right? Any crazy idea is an 8 to 10 on a 1 to 10, but also it's got to establish in the world, has to be practical, worldly. A 10 means super easy, we can do it tomorrow for free. So you see, the best ideas would be up in this realm, the 7-7 realm, right? So those ideas up on the board, when we prioritize them, and all you have to do is say it's her idea. We say, okay, how wild is that idea? And just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and people raise their hands. It's collective intelligence, and it's kind of fun. Oh, okay, that idea is kind of boring, and it's not that easy to do. It's hard, don't do it. Another idea, I'll just stick with you because the ideas get better. Then she had this idea, how wild is it? Well, it's like a 3. He thinks it's a 5, she thinks it's a 2, but it's a 3. But it's a 7, it's doable, that's incremental innovation. That's what passes for innovation, that's the danger zone. Dragons be here. Do these things probably, but please don't call them innovation. She has a third idea, 7-3. Some people are like, God, that's a 9. People start looking at you, I didn't know you had it in you. That's the look I see. People are just like, it's a 7. That's a great idea, but it's not yet practical. Don't give up. That's what the competition does. Now we're going to try to move it up, right? Even better is a 9-2. He comes up with a 9-2. It's like, it's an unbelievable, it's completely impossible. Where have we seen that word before today? It's impossible. Is that the start or the end? That's the start. Good, you created something impossible that's worth doing, right? So let's say it's a 7-3 or a 9-2. This is where everyone's afraid to go. This is where it all starts, right? Now here's the thing. When you take those ideas out, they go pop, pop, pop. Not many here, some here. You get a lot here, right? Some of them just land here. This math is super consistent for engineers. There's always an 8-8. How wild is that idea? It's an 8. How practical is it? And I always look at the person who's like, anyone who's like this, I just like, how practical do you think it is? And they go, I have to admit, it's at least a 6. He doesn't want to say it. His whole job, he's Mr. No. Look, I'm Mr. No. I'm a superhero, right? But this is like, I have to admit, it's at least a 6. Like, I've ruined his day. Go have some kombucha. What are you blaming me for, right? And a lot of them land here, but the best ones, if they land here, AI into the portfolio in the next 6 months. Oh, God, it's a 3. All right, give me one idea. Let's earn 1 point more practical. Government grant, boom, done. Makes it more affordable. Let's get one more. Open source software, faster. Boom, it's a 7.5. And then somebody goes like this, oh God, we have a new AI VP. She's going to give us the money, 7.7. That's what you do. And now if you just wait, those ideas will get more practical. By the way, if you just wait here, the ideas get worse. Isn't this weird? Your idea that's boring now will be super boring then. Your cool idea, it's that continuum, will get less and less. So this flows this way. This flows this way, but we can actually make this happen by using the Lumiami questions. See how it fits together? So the point is, anything northeast of 7.7, what you do is you turn that into a project. You see how it works together? Environment, targets, ideas, widest range, then you prioritize, turn into a project. Project's the lifeblood of any company. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. Here's some of the newest stuff. I always think of my work as research, leads to insights, and leads to methodologies to make it practical, and then systems. This is going to be bad design, but I just did this last night for you guys. So, right? This is the system for innovation. This is what I'm talking about to large companies. There are 10 process things you have to do and 10 progress things that you have to do or achieve. And the thing I suggest for a CEO or somebody is ask, these are defined, ask your company how you're doing 1 to 10. If you really care, how's our process? How's our mindset? You know what the classic amount I do now that I do this is a 3. Doesn't that feel about right though? I work with companies like LinkedIn. They're sometimes up around a 6 or a 7, right? So anyway, this is just work we're doing now. Ethically, this is the first thing I talk about now. Because you can do my workshops and methodologies 50, 60, 70 times. If you don't have a system, it's going to fade out over time, right? So anyway, this is the top level. And here's some fun. Apple in 2008. Hey, Bill, what are the scores? This is what I think their scores were. Sorry about this. 8.3 in process overall and progress, and 8.8. Does that ring true, kind of? Apple 2008, right after the iPhone? How about Apple today? And this is sad. Here's Apple today. Here's my scores. 3.346. It's 3.9. Does that feel about right? Isn't that sad? But I think it's true. I think it's out. Autodesk, Bill, 5.3. I worked there. I loved it. I was on the innovation team. These are the scores. You know what's good about scores like this? You keep asking people. And then you're like, hey, the scores aren't going up, right? These are what I call SEEs, subjective expert evaluations, especially if it's the high team. I don't care about your actual numbers. We launched 7 projects last year. I don't care. That's objective. What does he think about the fact that we launched 7? That's a stupid amount. It's way too many, or it's not even close. I care about the subjective expert evaluation. That's what this is. And so here's Ford, right? You'll notice I didn't put any numbers in there, right? I was at Google, and I rated them a 53, and I went into IKEA, they were a 35, right? I become more polite as I get older, right? So I don't know, but by the way, you guys have a number. I don't know what your number is, but if you ask the whole company, this whole room this, you would have a number. And I don't know if I've ever seen a number at a company over a 6. Every single number here is a dial you can dial up. And for example, when you raise the process score from it's horrible to it's okay, you're going to make more money. I don't know these relationships yet, but I have a big data set. I'm going to find them out. I want to be able to say to a CEO, get better with the leadership scores, and your valuation is going to go up. Wouldn't that be cool? That's called impact. Anyway, that's what we're doing now. You should have a meeting every day at 10 a.m. to innovate. I'm sorry, you should. Every professional should be innovating 10% of their time. That's 5 hours a week. It's just what I think, right? Llamas, okay? And then we're out, okay? So I talked about Silicon Valley, right? And with numbers and stats, there's a lot of reasons why it's different. But this is the spirit of the llama. This is the reason I think it's so innovative there. So you'll see if it's changed a little bit. So, and the basic point is that ideas, if this is the new idea, ideas are viewed as good until proven bad. And that just allows you to do this, like let the world decide thing. Okay. So let's talk about the llama. I'm going to insult, in a nice way, Boston, New York, and San Francisco accents. Don't be offended. It's a little caricaturish, but I have lived in all those places, and these people exist. Okay. All right, ready? So you ready? Llama joke. Idea is good until proven bad. Okay. So I'm going to use you if that's okay. Somehow it always works better with a woman. I don't know why. All right, so I'm a dentist, and I'm in New York, right? So I come up to you at a party, right? And I come up and I say, hey, how's it going? How you doing? I see you eating the finger foods, the hors d'oeuvres. What are they called? The hors d'oeuvres? The horse hooves? Well, hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres, that's what it is. This is the kind of guy he is, right? It's like, listen, I'm a dentist. I got an idea. I'm out in Staten Island, right? And could I run an idea by you? Totally rhetorical. He's just going to go. She could say, no, I'm pregnant. My water just broke. He's like, yeah, come here. I got it, okay? Let me tell you about this. So he says, I'm a dentist, and here's my thing. After all these years, I still get people scared when they come into the chair. If you're going to come in to be my patient and I come at you with the tools for the wisdom tooth, you're going to get scared, right? So I want to figure a way to calm down my patient. So this is my thought. I'm going to go to the zoo, okay? Don't worry. I'm going to get a llama, a friend of mine knows, put him in the back of the freaking truck, drive it to my office, right? And bring it down the hallway, sit it right next to you. So there you're like, oh, God, my wisdom teeth. But then you're like, oh, God, there's a llama. It's licking my face. I'm giving it a treat. They're using the hair for dental. Like, what is going on with the llama? You'd be distracted. You'd be laughing. You'd be petting it. What do you think about that idea of a llama in a dentist office to calm you down? Now, let's pause. Is everyone okay? Everyone with me? It's just words, right? So now, is that a crazy idea or not? Yes or no? It's kind of crazy. No, it's not. There's a therapy pig, it's SFO. It's a pig with a little pilot's hat. Yay! If you're afraid of flying, you're like, I'm going to die. Oh, there's a pig. Oh, it's a pig. And you're petting the pig. I'm not afraid of flying, but it's like, oh, I'm stressed. I got to, oh, it's a pig, right? Don't they bring dogs to help kids with cancer? Don't animals, horses, give you that nice feeling, right? So a llama in a dentist's office, a little crazy, but it's not totally crazy, right? I use that as this example, because remember, we don't know. Is anyone in this room a llama/dental expert? Anybody? Anybody minor in that? No. So shut up, everybody, including me. You don't know. Nobody knows, right? Sounds crazy. Anyway, so I'm in New York. Now let's flip it around. I'll flip it to you. So you're relieved. Everything's good. So now let's say you're the dentist. And now 3 responses, New York, and then we'll be out, right? So he comes up to me, and we're friends. And then, hey, Staten Island, the dentist, the llama, this and that. What do you think about that? What's the response of a New Yorker? Ready? Here's the response. What are you, a schmuck? It's the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. The thing's going to poop all over the place. What are you, crazy? A llama. What are you, nuts? You're crazy. All right. Turn the sound down. How does it feel? Ready? This is the response. Look at my body language. How does he feel about his idea? Better or worse? If that happens to you hundreds of times in your life, is that a culture? Joking aside. And that's what New York is like. I'm thinking of, you think, that's your problem there, you're thinking, right? Jesus, I didn't even tell you what I'm thinking. Yeah, but that's your problem. It's a tough place, man. Woo! Funny as hell, not that good for innovation. Innovation is an art, right? All right, so that's the New York response. Now Boston, The Departed. Boston, people think New York is tough. Boston's way tougher. Boston guy, I'm going to mock you, but I want to mock him in a group. That's the key in Boston. It's got to be group shame, like the Pilgrims, right? So he's like, I go, a llama. Did you say llama in a dentist's office? Hold on. Come here, listen to what this kid is saying. Llama! It's llama! And you got 3 grown men. Llama boy, it's llama boy. That's it. He's llama boy. And everyone in Boston's a kid till they're 60. This kid, every time, you're not going to believe what this kid said 9 years ago. Oh, my God. And I see him on Nantucket 3 years from now. He could be like a successful CEO, and it's like this. I don't have to say anything. It's just like, hey, llama boy. He's llama boy. And he goes home to his wife. He's like, God, it's just an idea, right? I don't know how the dentist went to CEO. How does he feel about his idea right now? He's like, I should, no, but... what is he going to say about his next idea? Just like, beware, right? Schmuck, llama boy, social shame. What does the San Franciscan say? So he comes up and says, I'm thinking of putting a llama in there, blibbity, blah, blah, blah. San Francisco responds this way. What kind of llama? Because that's a good idea. And my friend, the VC, he likes to fund animal-human interaction things. So hold on a second. I'm going to introduce you. And that guy back there, he's a good tarp guy, because when it poops, we'll tarp it up and we'll recycle it and we'll build houses out of it in Guatemala. Love that idea. And my friend over there is Netflix. Come here. And oh, by the way, I have a llama. I'll come right back. Hold on. And I come back with a llama. How does he feel about his idea? Better or worse? He goes home, he's like, I don't know if this is going to work, but apparently I have a llama support system behind me. What the hell? That is more than neutral. And I go home to my wife, you're not going to believe, now as opposed to, you're not going to believe what this guy's saying, versus, you're not going to believe this guy. He's going to put, I laugh because I have had a dog in the dentist's office I go, 21 years, been a dog there. And 2 years ago, I was in my own joke. I was in there, I was getting a procedure. I was like, this is going to hurt, and then there's the dog. I was like, oh, I'm in the llama joke, right? But so to wrap everything up, we can talk about Google, Twitter, Apple, all the money, all the tech and everything. Do you see my point? Yes, yes, yes. Let me help you. Yes, yes, yes. Apple, Google, Twitter, Facebook. What is the other explanation? So that's my point. That's where it all comes from. So to wrap it up, those are the 5 innovation techniques that we've been doing for millions of years. You guys should do them. Do it on every Tuesday at least. And Spirit of the Llama, yes before no. It's an art. You don't know what's going to work or not. Yes before no. And thank you very much. That's all I have. Thank you.